Most men think discipline is something you're either born with or you're not. They think some people wake up naturally driven, naturally sharp, naturally focused, while the rest of us struggle through life half asleep, fighting the same battles every day. But the Stoics knew something different. Something most men still haven't figured out. Discipline isn't a personality trait. It's a muscle. And like any muscle, it can be weak, average, strong, or absolutely unstoppable, depending on how you train it. The problem is that modern men never train it. They expect discipline to appear out of nowhere, to magically activate the moment they feel inspired, to carry them through life even though they've given it nothing to grow on. And then they wonder why they keep breaking promises to themselves. Why they keep failing their goals. Why they keep restarting the same habits every Monday as if they're stuck in a loop. But the truth is simple, you don't lack discipline, you just haven't built it. And that's what the Stoics mastered long before the word self-improvement even existed. To them, discipline wasn't a chore. It wasn't punishment. It wasn't even about productivity. Discipline was freedom. Because a man without discipline is controlled by everything around him: his impulses, his cravings, his moods, his distractions, his environment. He's pulled in every direction except the one he chooses. But a man with discipline? He becomes the most dangerous kind of man, one who can command himself. Let's dive deeper. The Stoics believe discipline begins before action in a place most men never look: your relationship with discomfort. Not pain, not suffering, discomfort. Any moment where your mind says, "I don't want to," and you do it anyway. That's training. Those tiny moments are like reps in the gym, invisible to everyone else, but transforming you from the inside out. A disciplined man isn't the one who feels motivated. He's the one who acts regardless of how he feels. He wakes up when it's inconvenient. He works when he's not in the mood. He chooses long-term benefit over short-term comfort. He does what needs to be done instead of negotiating with himself. Stoics trained this in brutal simplicity. Cold mornings. Silence. Routine. Responsibility. Self-restraint. Structure. Consistency. No shortcuts. No hacks. No tricks. Because discipline doesn't grow from hacks, it grows from friction. The more you confront the things that challenge you, the more disciplined you become. But here's the part modern men don't realize: your brain adapts to discipline the same way your muscles adapt to weight. If the weight is too light, you don't grow. If the weight is too heavy, you quit. But the perfect weight, just uncomfortable enough, that's where transformation happens. Too many men set impossible goals and then collapse under them. Others set goals so easy they feel nothing. The Stoics found the balance, trained discipline in small, consistent doses. The point wasn't to transform overnight, but to become just a little stronger than yesterday. That little stronger compounds. It builds momentum. It builds identity. It builds a man who begins to expect more from himself. Because discipline doesn't start outside, it starts internally, with the conversations you have with yourself. Every time you tell yourself, "I'll do it later," your discipline weakens. Every time you do the hard thing when you don't feel like it, your discipline strengthens. Which brings us to something the Stoics practiced religiously: doing things you don't want to do. On purpose. Not self-torture. Not misery. Training. Because a man who only acts when he feels like it is a slave to his feelings. Epictetus said, "No man is free who cannot command himself." That command doesn't appear magically. It's built the same way you build strength in the gym, one rep at a time. When you resist an impulse, that's a rep. When you wake up without hitting snooze, that's a rep. When you finish a task without distraction, that's a rep. When you put your phone down, that's a rep. When you choose discipline over comfort, that's a rep. All of these tiny, seemingly insignificant moments shape the man you become. But here's the real turning point: discipline grows fastest when your excuses sound the most convincing. When your brain starts whispering, "You worked hard yesterday, take a break." "You're tired, you deserve rest." "You're stressed, ease up a little." "You'll do it later." "You're not in the right mindset." "You'll start tomorrow." This is the voice that destroys more men than failure ever will. Stoics didn't defeat this voice by arguing with it, they defeated it by ignoring it. They understood that your mind will always choose comfort. It will always try to negotiate. It will always try to protect you from effort. It will always prefer the path of least resistance. So the Stoic solution was brutally simple: stop giving the voice a vote. Do what you said you would do even when your mind protests. Especially when it protests. Because every time you override that voice, your discipline grows. And every time you listen to it, your discipline shrinks. Let me tell you what happens next, and this is the part that separates disciplined men from everyone else. At some point, your discipline stops being effort and becomes identity. At some point, you no longer drag yourself, you lead yourself. At some point, you don't rely on motivation, you rely on momentum. And at some point, self-control becomes your default instead of your struggle. This is what the Stoics achieved. Not perfection. Not superhuman toughness. Not robotic consistency. They achieved self-command, the ability to act in alignment with their values regardless of mood, distraction, or temptation. And the more a man practices it, the more unrecognizable he becomes even to himself. Because discipline isn't just about what you do. It's about who you become. You become consistent. You become reliable. You become focused. You become strong. You become someone who doesn't negotiate with weakness. You become someone who follows through. You become someone you trust. And a man who trusts himself is unstoppable. Because he no longer doubts his ability. He no longer questions his strength. He no longer fears his weaknesses. He knows he can depend on himself, and that is the deepest form of confidence. The Stoics believed discipline was the root of all virtue. Not because it looks impressive, but because it makes every other part of life easier. With discipline, you can build anything. Without it, you can maintain nothing. It is the master skill, the foundation of every achievement, every transformation, every breakthrough. And the moment you begin treating it like a muscle, training it with intention instead of emotion, building it through action instead of hope, your entire life begins to shift. You stop collapsing under pressure. You stop repeating destructive patterns. You stop living reactively. You stop abandoning yourself. You rise. Maybe slowly. Maybe quietly. But undeniably. Because discipline doesn't just build results, it builds men. Men with purpose. Men with direction. Men with clarity. Men with self-respect. Men who can walk into life with strength instead of excuses. This is what the Stoics understood better than anyone. Discipline isn't natural. It's earned. It's trained. It's built. And it's built by you, one rep at a time. And every rep counts.